Is there a gap between how the pundits scored the conventions and how they were viewed by the public? Joining us now from New York, Lee Carter, a pollster and communications strategist. So, Lee, you conducted online surveys after each speech. We're going to run through some of this. Hillary Clinton, we're talking now about the independents that you surveyed. They gave it a C-, even though the media said, you know, not a great speech, but a very good speech. Are your folks grading the speech or what they think of Hillary Clinton?
You know, I think they were grading the speech, but ultimately it's impossible to separate what they think of Hillary Clinton from the whole thing. And I think what I see is that there's baggage that comes in these conversations. There's people bring all of that they feel about Hillary Clinton when they listen to her. It's almost impossible to do that. So what the independents were saying was that they wanted to feel a little bit more empathy. They wanted to feel a little bit more heard, and they didn't want to feel as judged as they did. There were a lot of great points about her speech, but that lacked sort of the pain that people are feeling. Okay,
let's try to run through these quickly. So Donald Trump, his speech was widely panned by the press, no question about that. Your independents gave him a B. Why the gap there?
I think that people were surprised when they heard Donald Trump's speech. I think they felt that it was a different speech than they expected. He was more presidential. He laid out a very optimistic message, even though everybody said it was very negative, because he really had empathy. He made people feel that they were heard and understood. When 72% of Americans feel like we're going the wrong way, he represented that for them. And he said that he was going to be their voice, and there were things that really did make people feel heard.
Okay, let's go these quickly now. So even conservative commentators said that Bill Clinton and President Obama gave very good speeches, but in both cases, your independent respondents said C. So they were not as impressed as the pundits.
Yeah, and what they said is that Bill Clinton gave a good speech, but it wasn't one of his best speeches. And Barack Obama, they said, again, he vacillated between the great orator and the professor. And what they really wanted to hear was the great orator, and what they really wanted to hear was why Hillary, and less why. What they said is that they felt that he was very much defending his legacy and talking about how great things were when people aren't feeling that things are necessarily great. Right.
And then we look at the two of the women. Melania Trump got an A. Now, this is before the plagiarism flap that later erupted. And then Michelle Obama, who, again, got pretty good reviews across the spectrum in the media world, got a C+. What counts for that?
So I think it's all about expectation. Melania went in with very low expectations and she exceeded them, but that A quickly became an F. Michelle Obama, I think what people said is there was a contradiction between the way she behaved there and the way that she behaves elsewhere. I think a lot of people said, you know, when she goes, you know, when they go low, she goes high. People feel that the Obamas really do judge the middle class and the people who aren't intellectually elite. And so what they wanted to hear from her was more of the inclusiveness that would show that maybe they are more embracing average view. Okay. So while the speech was very good, people do like Michelle Obama. They did want to hear something. They felt that some of the things that she said weren't necessarily realistic.
I'm going to put up one more graphic, but then I want to get to a broader question with you. So Ted Cruz, who got booed in Cleveland, got a D. Bernie Sanders, who embraced Hillary Clinton, got a B+. But here's the broader question. Do journalists watch and rate these conventions in a different way than members of the public who are just sitting at home in the living room, maybe not paying rapt attention every minute? Is there a real chasm there, in your view?
I think so. I mean, I think that journalists are very, very in tune to every movement, everything that's happening. They're much more educated and informed about everything that happens. The average American is at home. They might be doing many things. They might be trying to help their kids get dinner. They might be trying to do, you know, multitask. And they're just getting general sound bites. They're just getting smaller information. And the way that they react is very, very emotional. Not everything is rational. And I think a lot of us that are in the media looking at these things try to look at things intellectually and try to understand and listen to every word. And that's not the way that people react at home.
Yeah, and of course, with Donald Trump's speech being seen by about 30 million people, Hillary Clinton by 28 million people, that's a huge audience, but there's a lot of other people who just see the sound bites and the media coverage afterwards. Lee Carter, thanks very much for your research and for joining us from New York.